Professor Xavier, start the music. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. We hope it is good. Welcome to another edition of Geeks Who Like Sports. As always, I am Ray Carcillo in beautiful Los Angeles, California. Do the rest for the entire world over in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Lee Elias. Lee, how are you doing today?
Ray, it's a wonderful week of geekdom and sportsdom. We got juicy topics. For those of you listening to the episode, Ray, would you describe what you see? Can you see my shirt? Can you see what's on my shirt? Can you describe?
Oh, look at this! That's all the faces of Wolverine.
All the little Logans. I think the shirt's called Little Logans.
There you go.
And that dives us right into our non-sponsor. You've all seen these shirts out there, especially if you're a geek person. Companies called Roosevelt's, right? They make these button-down shirts. I've gifted many to Ray. This one, Little Logan's, has little Wolverines all over it. My son's name, Logan. It's no secret anymore because of Wolverine, my favorite character as someone growing up. But this is a great gift item. Yes. It's a great geek item. It's very sportsy, and also they have sports stuff too. So Roosevelt's, our official non-sponsor of the week. For those of you wondering how to spell Roosevelt's, I'm looking inside the shirt. RSVLTS. Yeah. Roosevelt's. There it is right there. Really great add-on to your geek collection. Another one, my good friend Matthew Eastman, Ray, bought me a really great one that was the first match from WrestleMania of Hogan. And actually, I think Ultimate Warrior's on it. But that wasn't the first match.
Hogan and King Kong Bundy was at WrestleMania.
Yeah, 1? I think it was WrestleMania 3. Was it him versus Ultimate Warrior at 3?
No, that was 6.
That one, whatever one that was, he bought that. I wore it out one night. I had a friend going through a really tough time, and I wore that out just to cheer him up. Yeah. And the amount of people that stopped me and were complimenting me on this was amazing. But then on top of it, some people just stop and point and nod. And I'm like, yeah, you what you gonna do, brother? So Roosevelt's makes quality geek sports mashup stuff. We would love to have you as a primary sponsor on this show. Give us a call. Yes. Quick story for the audience. When we launched the show again, we reached out to many sponsors. And I love Roosevelt so much. This is a true story. I put a old shoe, we cleaned it up beforehand, into a box with a note for the CEO that started out with, "I'm just trying to get my foot in the door." And we sent it to the only address we could find. I have no idea if that was the right address or not. I don't know if it was a warehouse. I have no idea where the shoe is. I don't even know if it got to the guy, but I thought you'd like that. We're just trying to get in the door because we stand for the same things. Geeks who like sports. So Roosevelt's, pick up that phone and give us a call. You're the official non-sponsor on Geeks Who Like Sports this week. Everybody, round of applause.
Yeah, instead of Geeks Who Like Sports, that'd be Geeks Who Like Shirts.
Geeks Who Like Shirts. Shirts Who Like Geeks. Yeah, nope, didn't work. That didn't work that way.
But yeah, I would have if I had known they were going to be the non-sponsor, I would have worn my Ninja Turtles one.
It's okay. I don't tell you the non-sponsors on purpose, but yes, I did get you a pretty awesome Ninja Turtles one.
Yes, and I have worn on several occasions.
Yes,
we relaunched the show and just out and about.
Yeah, yes. It's good stuff. Our producer Caitlin has one. It's great stuff. If any geek property you love, they've got something for you. And some of them are like this. I wouldn't say this one's loud, but some of them have like characters on. Some of them are a little less, apparent, right? You have to really look at them to understand what you're looking at. But Roosevelt's, non-sponsor of the week. Welcome on board. Whether you want it or not, you are the non-sponsor this week for Geeks Who Like Sports.
Yes.
That's where Xavi gets to cut the mini clip. You see how good we are at this, guys? It's like we were trained to do broadcasting.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, but we do have a very big show for you all today. We got some video game news. We've got a lot of comic book news, a lot of X-Men stuff, a lot of Deadpool stuff. And we've got all 4 major sports in the news for both good and bad reasons.
But we a week that ends in Y.
Yes. So we will kick things off, though. The big news, of course, it is playoff time in the NBA and the NHL. Lee, do you want to start? I feel like you want to start with hockey first.
I always start with hockey. I mean, as of today, April 23rd,
yes,
all of my predictions have been correct.
Yes.
It's very, very early, though. First round is off to a roaring start. Nothing crazy has happened yet. As you know, this tends to pick up as the series goes on.
Yes.
Rangers looking very, very good as predicted. Yeah. Boston and Toronto have split their series so far 1-1. And again, I never expected that to go 7. But yeah, it's been a great start to the NHL playoffs. Enjoyable to watch when your team's not in it. And really just watching a lot of people picking Boston kind of to go all the way. And the main reason is the President's Trophy that they don't think the Rangers can do it. And I said, well, let me tell you about the 1994 President's Trophy winners, because they did do it.
Yeah.
And it's important to remember that. But I just like the way the Rangers are playing. When Matt Rempe is the first one to score in the playoffs for you, you're having a really good time. Yeah, it's a good sign. And then, we'll see what happens. Again, they're just kicking off. It's been fun. And then in the NBA, Ray, nothing but disappointment for me and my Sixers, but I don't want
to. We'll get into the NBA, but I want to just quickly
game last night. No.
Yeah, we will. Let's just keep going hockey though. I will stay on hockey for a bit. We'll let it fester. We'll let
Embiid's tears I'm drinking here.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get into all of that for the NBA.
Yeah.
But no, I do want to mention with hockey, obviously the Rangers looked very good with a 4-1 win in game 1. Game 2 was
they look solid.
They look solid. Yeah, they look very solid.
There's no excuse to lose to the Capitals. There's just none.
The Islanders are down 2-0 in their series, which is not a surprise to me. A lot of folks were mad. The Islanders jumped out to a 3-0 lead in game 2 and then proceeded to give up 5 straight goals, the last one being an empty netter. But again, I tell people this the whole year. You look at the Islanders. The Islanders has one of the best plus-minuses goal differentials in the first period of any team in hockey, and they had the worst in the third period. They literally, to a T, that was the script the whole season. That's why they had 15 overtime losses or something. And it happened again in game 2. They jumped out to a 3-0 lead in the first and then proceeded to give it all back and then some and lost 5-3 to Carolina, who of course are also a stacked team.
Look, when I look at the NHL playoffs, I'm actually going to echo something that Paul Bissonnette said, that he said the Capitals and the Islanders in the East, they're the only 2 teams that can't win the Stanley Cup, if you know what I mean. Everyone else has a legit chance to get there.
Sure.
But I agree with that. The Islanders, I mean, it's like if you're an NFL fan, this is like the equivalent of a below 500 team making the playoffs. Right. And then the other thing, too, is that, the Capitals' goal differential is disgustingly bad. Right?
It's the first time a team in almost, it was in 35 years, I think it was, 1991, somebody do the math, that's 33 years since the last time somebody's had this bad of a goal differential.
If the President Trophy winners cannot defeat that team, the curse is real. But as I said, there's no surprise this year. I remember when a few years ago the Lightning dropped 4 in a row to, I think it was the Wild, if I'm not mistaken. But they were the best team in the league. Columbus, thank you. It was the Blue Jackets. Apologies, the Wild, but that wouldn't be possible. The Columbus Blue Jackets under John Tortorella of all coaches. But they didn't take that team seriously. I don't think the Rangers aren't taking the Caps seriously. I think the Rangers 100%. Look at the Caps and go, hey, you're in our way. I don't think Tampa Bay did that. I think the Rangers are like, you're in our way, and I need you out of our way because Boston and Carolina are waiting for us.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that's what it's going to be. I think the Rangers versus Carolina in the second round, and then probably
it's a first-round gift. You were given a first-round gift, which is you earned it, though. That's
absolutely. Exactly. That's why I wanted the 1 seed, and it was going to be, whether it was Washington or Detroit, I was not worried in the first round.
And another thing too, I'm looking at this Tampa Bay Florida series, and that might be the series for both those teams. I picked Florida to come out of that series.
Me too.
A lot of people picked Tampa, and I'm like, Tampa's not what they were a few years ago.
They're running on fumes.
I just think that those 2 teams are going to kill each other, and I think that the Panthers are a good team, but I don't know if they have what it takes to get back.
No, I think they'll be. I agree. I think they'll beat Tampa Bay, and I think then Boston will beat them because I think Boston will handle Toronto. Although Toronto was able to take Game 2 from Boston, which is a big deal for them. That could be a long series, but I still pick the Bruins. And I think the Rangers would then have a long series, but win ultimately over Carolina, and then probably beat Boston, and then we'll see what happens in the West. Interestingly, that was a crazy Game 1 between Winnipeg and Colorado.
Oh, it kept going back and forth.
Yeah, Georgiev. A lot of people talking about how he had one of the worst save percentages in hockey, even though he led the league in wins. And it reared its head here in Game 1. He gave up 7 goals on 23 shots.
Yeah, it's brutal.
At some point, you got to make a save. And I'm a big Georgiev fan. Obviously, started his career with the Rangers as Henrik's backup. But that's hoo-hoo. I mean, whereas Hellebuck, yes, he gave up 6 goals. He also faced 47 shots. So it's a little different there. So...
Well, and another crazy game, the Edmonton Oilers beat LA 7-4. McDavid with 5 assists. If he's passing, and other guys are scoring, that's very dangerous suddenly. But I didn't pick the Oilers to go all the way. I picked in the West. I picked the Avalanche. So, very hard to tell anything from games 1 and 2 in any playoff series. Games 3 is where things start to get really real.
Yes.
But it's also early in the playoffs. Teams are filling each other out, and we'll see what happens. I just think that the Rangers' path is potentially I don't want to say the word easy, but it is the most favorable path. You get the Capitals around 1, the Leafs and the Bruins are going to kill each other. The Hurricanes and the Islanders, that's going to be a physical series. It's right there, right? You know what I mean? And obviously, like the Lightning and the Panthers, the same thing. They're going to kill each other. So it's there for them, Ray. It's there for the Rangers. They just can't get complacent. And they cannot get cold, right? And
that's why it was a big deal. That's why it was a big deal that Panarin scored also in game 1, right? I mean, as great as it was to see Rempe and VC and like the bottom line contribute the way they did, the fact that you had a goal from Panarin is a big deal. Because you need him to be what he was in the regular season, where he scored for. And Kreider had a goal, right? And Kreider had a breakaway goal, which you need as well, right? If Kreider and Panarin are clicking, and then you get contributions from your bottom 6.
And Shesterkin. Everything's looking great right now.
Yes, so Shesterkin was very solid. He now is, I think, 1 or 2 games away from Martin Brodor's record of 2 goals or less in a row at home. It was his 10th straight game where Shesterkin had given up 2 goals or less at Madison Square Garden. I think Brodor with the Prudential Center / Meadowlands Izod Center had that record with, I think it was a dozen. So another really quality start for Shesterkin.
It says something in today's NHL too.
Yeah. So for Igor to be that dominant, I would not. At first, I picked Rangers in 6, but if they continue to play they did, I could also see Rangers in 5 at this point.
I mean, look, the Capitals are all going to be about Ovechkin, and they didn't have a shot in game 1. So it makes me wonder, are you really that focused on the goal record? He's a competitor. He wants to win, but the best player not shooting the puck is not a good sign. So we'll see what happens.
He took shots. It's just none of them went on net. They were the couple of shots he took went wide or.
So that does not count as a shot on net, though. And that's what I'm saying. He had 0 shots on net in that game. That's crazy.
Yeah, no, it was. I think only the 3rd time in his career that happened, or something, 3rd or 4th.
Yeah,
the Rangers really shut him down. And Charlie Lindgren, who had been red hot. I mean, to be fair, Lindgren got off to a great start, did everything he could, but the Rangers just kept peppering him, and then the Rangers, who had 5 days off before game 1 because of the weird schedule that we talked about in last week's show.
Another gift.
Right. Yes, that was also a gift that the Rangers were able to get 5 days off before the playoffs started. They had a little bit of rust in the first period and then exploded in the second for 3 goals in 2 minutes. And so it was, it was a very good start. We'll see. We'll knock on wood. We'll see where we're at next week with this first round of the playoffs. But so hockey getting started. And, Lee, you mentioned you really can't tell a lot in the first 2 games of the playoffs for a series. But we're moving now over to the NBA. And boy, oh boy. The first 2 games at the Garden, you might not be able to tell a lot, but you could tell that the Knicks and the fans, they are hungry.
Oh, yeah.
And the Sixers might have underestimated the Knicks a little bit because, to be fair, you guys should have taken game 2 in what will go down as one of the greatest. I mean, that was a Reggie Miller-esque sequence basically at the end.
It was unfortunate for the Sixers for obvious reasons, but I mean, look, I don't think it's a not taking them seriously. I think it's just some unfortunate. They inbound at the end of the game. There was horrible. The guy Maxey missed it. We didn't get our shots. It was one of those classic turnarounds at the last second. But the thing for me, Ray, is that these are close games. It's not like the Knicks are blowing out the Sixers. And if I know anything about playoffs, they're going back to Philadelphia now, where the fans may be equally as rabid. So this is a series that could easily get tied up pretty quickly here. But we let one slip away there last night. But again, that might be a lack of experience. I don't think it's a lack of respect for the Knicks.
I mean, maybe. I mean, we'll see. I mean, it was a big deal. Embiid couldn't show his face to the press after the game. He kept his head in his hands the entire time while he was giving statements. Although he was saying all the right things, but he kept his head in his hands.
Yeah, it was devastating. You can't lose like that. You can't lose a game like that. And then he didn't even take the last shot. So it's just I'm sorry, he did take the last shot. He just missed it. So it's a tough It is a tough.
It wasn't the block shot. The block shot was the previous.
That was the previous one, and then the offensive rebound by the Knicks was devastating. Yeah. But
Hartenstein, who is now being called the 7-foot JJ Watt.
Yeah. Well, look, it's round one, and you don't want that to be your best moment of the playoffs. I'll just say that.
For sure. But it is also something that you could build momentum on. And remember,
100%.
And I will also say that Jalen Brunson's worst 2 games of the year were the first 2 games of the playoffs, and the Knicks still found a way to win.
Yeah.
So that does say something a lot about the team.
The Knicks are a better team than the Sixers right now. It's just going to come down to Embiid. It always comes down to Embiid and how he wants to play the game.
Yes, no, for sure. Also a buzzer beater last night. The Lakers blew a massive lead to the defending champion Nuggets. Nuggets came roaring back to tie it. I think it was Murray who had the last shot and made a mid-range jumper and to win 101-99. LeBron James then had a lot of words for the referees after the games, not only in his game but also in the Knicks and Sixers. And I know that both teams are protesting. To be fair, this happened twice to the Knicks in the regular season. Similarly, where the Knicks had to end up protesting. And I think it's just, I don't know what it is with the NBA this year. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's all the gambling around the sport. We'll get into that in a second. But it definitely seems like the referees have been a lot more prone to just swallowing the whistle really the whole year in the final minute of closing of games.
It's true. It's not limited to men's basketball either.
Yeah. So it's been interesting. I don't know why that is, but it has been a trend. And LeBron said something last night in his press conference, even if he sounded like a whiny baby. Lee, what are your thoughts on the end of the both these games with the potential fouls? And I think it's just classic physical basketball. But then again, by the letter of the law, something probably should have been called at both games.
Yeah, I have a few thoughts on it. One is that everything is amplified this time of the year. It does not matter what the sport is. Everything's meticulous, and you didn't call this, you didn't call that. I'll maintain what I've said on the show many times. You do not win or lose the game on the last play. The literal game may end around that time, but it's the summation of the game, right? And I think when you look at all 4 quarters in basketball, there's other mistakes that are made that are the problem. Now, with that said, for officiating, and we talk about this with baseball, it's all about consistency for me. Like if everyone's officiating similarly in the fourth quarter, the last 5 minutes of the game, it is what it is. You gotta expect it. We talked about this at the end of the MLB season. You gotta be a gamer, man. You gotta be there. You gotta play the damn game, and whatever they throw at you, you gotta overcome that adversity. So I don't like a lot of bitching. All right. I'm not saying LeBron James hasn't earned the right to say whatever he wants. He's top 3 players of all time. He can say whatever he needs to say. Right. But it's all about consistency with the officiating. And I like when the players have the game in their hands. I don't want it to be the officials' hands, and I don't want it to be the coach's hands. And I think that while it's inconsistent, it is in the players' hands. Right. And I think fouls in basketball, when you compare them to hockey, are soft as hell. Yes. Play the damn game and win the damn game. Yeah. All right. You got to bleed for your team, bleed for your team. Yeah. All right. You're laying on the floor, wailing like a little baby. I'm not talking about any one player. Play the damn game.
Yeah.
It's a common thing amongst all sports except for hockey that you see players laying down looking for a call.
Yeah.
All right. In hockey, they will look, but they're moving when they're doing it. Right. Sure. Like in other sports, football, the game just stops. It's like you lay in there and the other team's going, get up and play the damn game.
Yeah.
All right.
Unless you literally can't get up. Then
of course. Then that's probably going to get called. Right. So my point is.
Well, that's the thing. There was last night, Lowry was flopping all over the place for the Sixers. It could have gone both ways.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not blaming anyone. Just play the damn game.
Yeah. So the Cavaliers also last night take a commanding 2-0 lead. They have dominated the Magic in the first 2 games of that series. I think this is just a classic example of experience over inexperience.
Of course it is. Yeah.
Orlando is very young. Nobody there really has any experience. Whereas Cleveland, even though they lost in the first round last year, were in the first round last year, and so they have that under their belts.
Right.
The Suns looked absolutely terrible in their first game, but again, that's like a 2 versus 7. The Timberwolves look very strong. The Thunder were able to pull out a nail biter. Yeah, so much as usual, the higher seeds are winning all their respective series pretty well. A couple of close games here or there. Again, Knicks and Sixers last night. You had Pelicans and Thunder was a 1-bucket game, and obviously again also the Nuggets on the buzzer beater. But otherwise, you are seeing the higher seeds handle their business here in the first round of the NBA playoffs, and I don't think anyone is surprised by that.
Right, for sure.
So, but speaking of the NBA, before we move on to a little bit of football this week, this was a huge deal. Jonte Porter, for those of you who don't know, plays for the Toronto Raptors, or did play for the Toronto Raptors, I should say, used to play for the Toronto Raptors, because it has been found that the NBA has found that he was indeed gambling illegally on himself and his team and winning bets on his own playing time and whatnot, betting the under, and then faking sickness in order to hit and win those bets. And not surprisingly, Adam Silver has given him a lifetime ban. I think this is actually the second lifetime ban that Silver has had to issue in his time as commissioner. And I mean, this is how it should be done. This was pretty black and white. The evidence was all there.
Right? Like, consistency, right?
Yeah.
I just talked about that. I mean, look, you get caught, you're banned. You must send a message to these players if that's the stance you're going to have, and the message can't be like, oh, these guys can stay, these guys can go. Right. You must send a message. This was a message being sent, and I'm glad to see it.
Yes. And this lifetime ban, of course, brought to you by DraftKings. Be sure to go to DraftKings. Yeah. Sorry. No, I mean, look.
That's where he is now. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. We've talked about this for a lot, is that obviously gambling has become a lot easier than it has ever been. And like some of these guys, the temptation clearly is just too much. And I mean, look, I hope he doesn't have it cost him his career. So you could probably say he has a problem with it. Hopefully he gets the help he needs, because you just threw away a $2 million a year career for a $20,000 bet.
That's
so
stupid.
Clearly not worth it if you are a fan.
The other thing too is like, we got to remember, like this one was pretty clear cut with the Ohtani case. The more I think about it, it's like, and we got to remember too, these guys don't sit at home counting their money, right? They hire people to do that. So, 20,000 goes missing, right? It could happen, right? They're not looking at it. Like, you don't look at your bank account. But this one's black and white. The guy's banned. It's done.
That's it.
I don't know how much more obvious.
It's as easy. It is rare that you get something so black and white as this in anything in life nowadays. But this was clear as day that this guy was guilty. So Jonte Porter, gosh, I don't even want to give you the bus. You're just an idiot.
You're on the bus, out of town, buddy.
Exactly. Have fun. You're out of Toronto and you're out of the NBA.
Bus. So, get out of here.
Goodbye. Oh, goodness. But, we're waving goodbye to Jonte Porter, but we're going to be welcoming a lot of folks to NFL rosters this week, because it is time for the NFL draft. That's right. We are 48 hours away from the first round of the NFL draft, and a lot of buzz this week around my New York Giants and what they will do with the 6th pick, because there are rumors now that both the Vikings and the Broncos, the Vikings at 11, the Broncos at 12, are talking to the Giants about trading up. Lee, let me give you a couple of possible scenarios here for what the Vikings have offered and what for the Broncos have offered. I know what I want to take if these offers are true. The rumor is that the Vikings have offered the Giants both their first round pick, which the 11th pick this year, right? They basically would swap ones, and also their second round pick, and possibly a third round pick next year to move up 5 spots. That is one scenario that has been offered possibly to the Giants, or is being shopped around supposedly. So 3 picks for the 1 pick, which pretty fair somewhat, right? The Giants got something similar a few years ago for the Bears to move up 9 spots to get Justin Fields with the Giants. The Bears gave the Giants a first, a fourth, and a first the next year. So this would be a second and a third plus swapping picks. We'll see what happens. The other one, and this is the one that I want. The Broncos would move up 6 spots. They would trade picks. The Broncos would also give the Giants their first round pick next year. And Patrick Surtain II, their number 1 corner, who's going into the final year of his rookie contract, to give the Giants an interesting 1-2 combo at corner in Surtain and Banks. That's what I would prefer, because to me, first off, I think a first round pick next year is worth more than I think 2 picks from Minnesota, 2 back picks from Minnesota. And I think that Surtain fills a hole that the Giants have in the secondary, because now suddenly you have 2 legit starting corners. Lee, what are your thoughts on these rumors about, obviously we have no idea what's going to happen. Supposedly now they're also talking to Arizona at the 4. So, but what do you think about draft day trades and whatnot, and what might happen, and what would you do if you were the G-Man? Because your Eagles are further back, and I want to get your thoughts on what your Eagles do. But what do you think about what the Giants might do?
Yeah, I think those proposals seem a little gracious, if you ask me. I don't think that they're very likely to happen. I don't think the number 6 pick, unless it is a missing piece and they have the best in the country, really a generational player, that seems a little rich to be offering the Giants that. If they offer the Giants any of those deals and the Giants don't take them, they're idiots.
They're stupid. Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why I have a hard time thinking that those are real. Look, man, 50% of picks work out. That's the statistical number, so if you're going to trade up a pick and give all that away, you better be 100% sure that you have someone there that you want. And that's the type of trade that's not going to happen until the 5th pick is made. Right.
Absolutely.
So I think it's unlikely. Now, if the Giants can move around and get a few picks down and a couple other things, I think they can entertain that. They're not strong enough at this point that one player is going to make a difference next season, but 3 or 4 might over the course of 2 years. So, I think that's a good move. It's I hope Giants fans understand that. But look, if you end up with a 6th pick, it's not the end of the world. I think a lot of it comes down to, are you going QB or not? And then it depends on where that's going to go. But those seem kind of unrealistic to me. I'm not going to lie to you.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing is, the rumor is that the Broncos and Vikings both think they're a quarterback away, and they want. Well, first of all, the Broncos in particular, they know at 12 with the Vikings in front of them, none of the QBs they want are going to be sitting there at 12.
Yeah.
Right. So, but the same with the Vikings. And the thing is that you look at the quarterback class, if JJ McCarthy is sitting there at 6, I don't want him. Right. I don't want that for the Giants. Either take a receiver, take the best tackle in the draft in Joe Alt, or again, trade back, because also at 12 or 11, you'll still be able to get a quality offensive tackle or receiver, which I think is a much more important and much more pressing need for the Giants.
I'm going to take it a step further for you too, and this is where a lot of fans get lost. Like, you got to take a macro view of the next, 3 to 5 years with this team.
Right.
And the truth is this: you got to let your quarterbacks get beat up one more year before you're going to be in a position to really compete.
Yep.
You want that to be your new quarterback, or do you want it to be Daniel Jones, or do you want it to be, whatever Jimmy, whatever his name is, your 3rd string? Like, so my attitude is, build around the quarterback position right now. There will be other quarterbacks available, right? And there always are. I mean, these guys coming in, generational talents or just talent.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, look, you never know. Right. But my point is, it's not like there's someone there that's like the most highly touted draft pick of all time, especially at the number 6 position.
Right.
So you got to see what's offered, when you're doing these things. I mean, I honestly, again, those offers, they seem too good to be true. Like quarterback away or not. I can't see either of those teams doing that. And if they do, the Giants better take it. No,
yeah.
But I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, and then that's the thing too. In Denver, even though they just traded for Zach Wilson, basically a 6th round pick to the Jets, that happened yesterday. Obviously, still in the on the hunt for a quarterback, because Wilson is basically a backup at this point. The same way Daniel Jones is basically going to be a backup at this point.
Yeah, so I'm saying is you use Daniel Jones to educate the rest of the team, so you can
he's now a bridge quarterback to whatever you do, whether you draft a QB next year or later in this draft.
He can fill that role. He has enough experience now to fill that role, and maybe he'll surprise some people this year, but. This isn't your year, and that's what I'm saying. It's like, even if you had number 1, it's not your year.
Absolutely.
So it's just you got to gauge those things, and fans have a hard time with that. They want winning immediately, especially in this area. But that's not how a football team is built, right?
People are expecting miracles, and although a miracle would be nice, it's not happening.
They don't happen that often. It's just you got to build the team the right way. Every time New York sports rushes something, they fail horrendously. It's not a New York thing. It's a life thing. That's not how you build a team.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But Lee, what do you think your Eagles are going to do in the first round? You guys obviously were a playoff team last year, so you guys are farther back in the draft in the first round. What do you think your Eagles, what is the most pressing need for Philly, you think, right now?
An offensive and defensive coordinator that know what they're doing. Can we draft those? No, look, the Eagles are in a tight spot. I mean, honestly, the obvious answer is center.
Right?
You know what I mean? So with Jason Kelsey being gone, but that team has a completely new dynamic with him gone. So I think that it's going to be a culture pick more than anything else. It's someone who can fit in the system because like the Eagles are ready to win now. Yeah, they're not a team that's like they're not going to suck next year, right? At least I don't think, right? So I think you got to draft a center if there's one available at that point of the draft that's highly touted. I know that's not a sexy first round pick, but you have to replace. I mean, we had the greatest center of all time, right? You got to replace that. Aside from that, Eagles are pretty well rounded, right? I mean, it's an interesting situation where I think they're drafting for the future more than this season.
Makes sense. So moving on to speaking of futures. Well, somebody whose future has been decided has been, of course, we mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, John Sterling and his sudden retirement. He had a ceremony at Yankee Stadium this last weekend, and I'm not going to lie, Lee, for a dude who's been broadcasting for 60 years, 36 of them with the Yankees, he's called 5 world championships and several pennants and whatnot, and
it's a household name.
The Yankees really kind of mailed it in. They gave him a little silver microphone. I just want to hold something up here. This is my golden microphone that looks way better than what the Yankees gave John Sterling, by the way. Lee has one of his own, by the way.
I do have one of those. It's in my dad's house. Yeah.
So, and the Yankees give him this cheap little cruddy silver microphone, and a television set. Like he just won a parting gift on a game show. It looked like Anthony Volpe went to Best Buy before he went to the stadium that day. Literally didn't even wrap it. Just like in the box, right off the shelf. Here you go, John. A TV.
Was a TV?
A TV. So they said so you can watch the Yankees from home now. The dude had the best seat in the house for 36 years. Look. I've been harping on Hal Steinbrenner and Brian Cashman and all of them for several years now.
They got him a TV.
This is a slap in the face. Audi sponsors half the stuff at Yankee Stadium. You couldn't get him a car. You couldn't get him you got him a TV. I have that TV here in my house. I know how much it costs. You go. Every player chipped in what, $10? Oh, are you kidding me? A TV set and a little silver microphone that looked like it was bought and you spent $3 at a trophy store on? Look, I have a golden microphone. For 4 years of work.
We have golden microphones.
For 4 years of work, and ours is gold.
It's gold. From college.
What are you doing? You're the New York Yankees. What a joke! You're a disgrace, Hal, you pencil-pushing, penny-pinching piece of crap! Sell the team! You're not your father! You're a disgrace!
I'll take it a step further here. I bet you and I could have some fun just in 1 minute. Better gifts that they could have made for John Sterling. A picture spending the 5 championships, maybe him calling it from the booth, signed by a lot of people.
Yeah. And I will say this. I understand they were pressed for time because this was a very sudden thing. So I'm not expecting the plaque that needs to be bronzed and put in Monument Park one day. I get that, right? But also, unless he is really, really going soon and he's really, really sick, you could have held off on this kind of a quote unquote ceremony for a couple more months.
Right. I'll tell you what they should have done. All right. After every Yankees win, for those of you people that don't know, and I am not a Yankees fan, New York plays by Frank Sinatra. Yes. What they should have done is said, in addition to that custom now, when the Yankees win prior to the singing of New York, we will all hear the Yankees win into the song for eternity.
Yeah. There you go.
That would have been there's something cost no money.
After Bob Shepard retired, Derek Jeter still had Bob Shepard.
Now batting number two.
Yeah.
Derek Jeter.
Come on, guys. The Yankees used to represent class and culture.
Yes, used to. Not anymore. Now it's the Dodgers somehow.
They don't represent class and culture.
Not at all.
let's
see. The Astros. No. That's not it. The Braves. Honestly, the Braves are. That's who it is now.
The Braves. I'd even say your Phillies at this point have more class and culture.
Goddamn right. No, the Yankees have really fallen from grace, right? And again, a team that was feared and revered at the same time, and can be again, does not have that right now. It was despicable. Even me, not a Yankees fan and a Phillies fan, has unbelievable respect for John Sterling. I know that call. We know that radio call. If you're a baseball fan, a silver mic and a TV, not even a watch or anything.
Unbelievable.
Got to go in front of the bus, Ray.
Yeah, no, Hal Steinbrenner, you're in front of the bus this week, my friend. Unbelievable. Also, very quickly, speaking of a lack of class, also want to mention the terrible new City Connect uniforms for the New York Mets. We ragged on the Phillies, so it's only fair that we should also mention that the Mets also that's stupid. It doesn't look good, as always. The Mets uniforms has always looked bad, but now they look even worse. Yes. So congratulations, Mets. Fortunately, the one thing the Yankees will never agree to is a City Connect uniform, and I swear, if they ever have an alternate uniform, I will walk back to New York.
Oh my God, I'm looking at these now.
I will walk back to New York and burn the stadium down. I swear. No City Connects for the Yankees.
Why are they doing pinstripes? Like, what are they doing?
I don't know.
It's like they're. I don't know how the Mets organization doesn't understand. You're not the Yankees. So this is like a low-level troll, and it doesn't work.
No. Nothing the Mets do works, though.
Yeah, that's true. I'm trying to figure out why they did this. And then there's a guy in a train station. It's so stupid. And why
we're taking the subway up to Queens. Yeah, we're gonna go watch the Mets.
That's what it is, dude. They're using the subway font. Oh man.
Who comes up with this and then who signs off on this?
That's problem with them is they look very traditional. My problem is there's already a team in New York with pinstripes.
Yeah. It just anyway, the Mets you suck too. Going back to Yankee Stadium though, and just this is baseball in general. It's our last sports story of the day. Baseball has a problem. Because the thing that everybody is talking about every day when it comes to baseball isn't a team, isn't a player.
No, sir.
It's the umpires. Every day there's a new controversy around how dumb these guys are and how their ego is bigger than the stadiums that they're calling games in.
Yep.
And that, again, the minor leagues have so many replay systems in place. But this one, somebody should have called in from Major League Baseball and overturned this.
I agree with you on this.
And look, I hate Aaron Boone.
Yeah, we all agree he's an asshole.
I hate him. Everybody hates him. But there is undisputed video evidence that this wasn't his fault. Now, look, he got into an argument with the umpire in like the first 7 minutes of the game. He said a guy was hit by a pitch, or wasn't hit by a pitch. Said he was. They went to the replay, and they said, can't overturn it. And that's it. And Boone kept chirping. So the umpire said, you say something else, I'm going to kick you out. So Boone goes back to the dugout, fine. And he's literally just sitting there. And he's just sitting there, and he's watching the ump. And a fan behind the dugout, doing, by the way, what all Yankee fans do.
That's true.
Is harp on the umpire. The umpire turns around and says, Boone, you're gone. And Boone's like, I didn't say anything. And legitimately, we have the proof that he didn't. And the umpire is like, well, I don't care.
Yeah, he said, I don't care who said it. I don't care who said it.
Boone's like, how can you mean? What do you mean you don't care? That's BS. And it was. It's a disgrace. Hunter Wendelstedt, a veteran umpire, who, by the way, then said he refused to look at the replay after the game. And I get it. The Major League Baseball union's not going to do anything. The PA's not going to do anything. Rob Manfred's definitely not going to do anything.
No, nothing's going to happen.
But again, it is a bad look for these old farts who can't see and now can't hear and just are a disgrace to the game because, again, week after week, what are we talking about? We're not talking about the Yankees are 15-8. We're not talking about Cleveland getting off to a great start. We're not talking about the Mets bouncing back after an 0-5 start. We're not talking about the upstart Pirates. We're talking about the umpires.
Yep. It's
again.
Really stupid. It's really stupid, Ray. And you know, you said the word in the beginning of the segment about ego.
Yeah.
You know, I try to give the benefit of the doubt, but like, I don't care who said it. You're out of here.
Yeah.
What is that, Ray? What is that? I don't care who said it. Like, I just feel like you're saying it right. I want to watch the baseball game, and as juicy as this stuff is, I don't want to watch it.
No.
Right? It's bad strike calls, bad ball calls. Now we got a guy kicking a manager out for no reason, literally no reason.
Yeah.
And now I'm sure they're all going to hear about this, that a fan said something, but umps, cool off. Say about you.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. It's like Hunter Wendelstedt. You want to go bark at somebody? I don't know. Go to AEW, help them out. You can go cut a promo there. But like, honestly, for you to say I don't care, and like, it's Hunter Wendelstedt. By the way, you're also in front of the bus. You and Hal Steinbrenner hand in hand get in front of the bus. But like, you guys, the fact that we know the umpires' names as well as we do in baseball now is a disgrace. Like, I'm sorry, guys, but you guys don't have baseball cards. You guys don't have sponsorship deals. You guys don't. Nobody buys your jersey. And like, honestly, the fact that you still haven't been replaced by computers yet is a joke. I don't care about the human element. I don't care about all this other stuff, this archaic stuff. And maybe baseball will finally get into the 21st century sooner rather than later. But umpires, particularly in baseball, you are a disgrace to the game. Technology has surpassed you, and we don't need you anymore.
Well, and that's the big key, Ray, is that we really don't. And it's I just don't know how long Major League Baseball is going to allow this to go on, because it's so stupid. You're right. I don't want to talk about the umpires.
Yeah, I don't want to see you get into a pissing contest with the manager,
right?
Because you didn't hear, because you heard a fan chirping.
It's really stupid. It's really stupid. It's wrong, and everyone's talking about it, and it's a laughingstock of the league. Again, I don't know how much more stuff baseball needs that's not about baseball to infiltrate their season, right? And you said it. We don't need them. We don't need these guys anymore, right? And any traditionalist who loves the idea of, oh, well, the balls and strikes, it's part of the game. It's part of the game. I don't – why? Why do we need that to be part of the game? I don't need someone's interpretation of a strike. We know what a strike is.
Especially now that we have the strike zone on every broadcast.
Right.
We literally have it there displayed so that we can see it at home, which only makes it worse for us to watch at home because we can see how wrong you are in real time. No replays needed. It's right there. It's right there. It's a joke.
It is a joke.
By the way, you want to know how much our computers are listening to us right now? I just got an email from Roosevelt's with their Hall of Fame baseball collection.
That's insanity.
Yeah, like literally just popped into my inbox. Roosevelt's, of course, again, our non-sponsor of
the week. You should be the full-time sponsor of the year.
Yes, as they now say, immortality awaits. You can get yourself a Big Hurt Frank Thomas button down, or yourself a Wade Boggs t-shirt, or anything of that nature that just literally just popped into my inbox and I had to say something. So
Ray, are we about to transition to the geek section?
Oh, yes, we are.
Well, for the watching audience, I have the most beautiful clip for you. Watch this.
I love LA. We love it.
Ray, you look great as an umpire. I want you to know that. You haven't seen it when we're recording this, but I know what's coming, or I know what just happened. You don't, but you look great as an umpire. I want you to know
I would be a better umpire than Hunter Wendelstedt. That is
yes, and Angel Hernandez.
Yes. Although I would probably throw Aaron Boone out of the game on a regular basis as well. So I don't
yeah,
know.
like I said, it had to be Aaron Boone for everybody to kind of be like, oh, whatever. But like, yeah.
Well, I mean, that is a case also a little bit about the reputation preceding you too, right? Like the umpires have had it with Boone. Boone has been thrown out more than he averages 7 ejections a year.
It's just stupid, man.
Right. So, but it is a. But again, you got to get that right. You got to get that right as an umpire. So, but you know what they're getting right over on Disney Plus? X-Men 97. We called it. Lee was more correct than I was. We both called that Xavier was going to start coming back at some point from Shi'ar Empire. They set that up in last week's episode where he had his Obi-Wan Kenobi moment where basically, awesome. I mean, and this is from the comics as well.
They were drinking wine, making love.
He felt the deaths of everyone in Genosha at once.
Yep.
And it broke him. And just like in the comics, he's like although he was on Earth at the time when it happened in the comics, but similarly, they combined 2 big moments where he goes to Lilandra, the Shi'ar Queen, and his girlfriend, which, by the way, Professor X a little submissive there in that relationship. That was a little.
I want to talk about Lilandra too, because she's kind of the worst. Like,
yeah.
So let's just run through this for those of you who don't know. Professor X was shot by Gyrick at the end of the series, the original series, right? And Lilandra comes and says, basically, look, we can save him, but he can never come back to Earth again because he's going to need continued treatment of our technology forever.
Right.
It was a lie. I mean, she kind of told the guy, like, yeah, look, you're not going to ever see your kids again. Marry me. And then here's a Lex Luthor suit from another universe. And survive.
Oh, and we're going to wipe your memories.
But here's a free lobotomy with every purchase.
Yeah.
All right. And they're like, yeah, now you really got to forget your children. Yeah. No dice. No. There was a line that I appreciated that they put this line. This is something DC and Marvel could continually learn from.
Yeah.
Professor X does say, it's presented to him, I need you to forget your children to prove your loyalty. And he says, you know what, you saved my life. I need to do whatever you want. And he wasn't wrong in saying that. Right. Like I'm glad that they threw that in there of just like, because I would never do that. Right. For my children. But yeah, if someone saved my life and allowed people to prosper,
right,
I would have to think about that. You know, if I owed the debt, right?
Well, and that's the thing. And then Professor Xavier thinks about it, and then he kind of goes back on it. And actually does a great job. He's teaching the Shi'ar to be like
awesome. It was an awesome scene.
Phenomenal, where he realizes, oh yeah, my greatest strength, is as a teacher.
Right.
And he's literally teaching them, but then the Alderaan moment, the Genosha moment.
Yeah, which also makes me think that because I think some people were like, well, how come it just got to him now? No, I think that was the moment it happened.
Yes, we are seeing those 2 moments exactly. That is a simultaneous kind of thing, right? Like they went a little bit back in time to show us what happening.
A little bit of a Terminator 2 type moment too, with everybody blowing up there. But it was well voice acted, well animated, and again, the death of his children, spawned him to say, "I have to go." Right. And that's somewhat where that portion of the episode leaves off.
Yes. And also, I want to mention, it was also great. We saw Ronan the Accuser.
We did. Yeah, man. They just really brought the larger MCU into this. It was awesome.
Yeah. No, they did a great job with the Kree, the Kree and the Shi'ar. And like, really, we had a cameo from Vulcan. For those of you who don't know, Vulcan is the long lost brother of Havoc and Cyclops. Mm-hmm. He basically kind of gets brainwashed by the Shi'ar. And then that kind of comes undone and stuff really hits the fan later. So I wonder.
Gladiator was there too.
Yeah.
You know, I wonder if they're going to see him.
I wonder if they're going to do the Vulcan storyline though in season 2 or something.
They could. They've really opened up the characters in this show.
Yeah. And also Nightcrawler in the credits. Nightcrawler now, Gambit and Magneto gone because they are, but Nightcrawler suddenly looks like he's going to be on the main roster again to fill that hole. Yeah.
Bamf.
Adds a little more levity to.
That's the word that's used for when he transports.
Yes.
Bam.
Yes, and with a smell, a whisper of brimstone across the senses.
It's really cool. That little demon. He's such a good friend.
Yes.
No, it was a fantastic episode. I know you want to get into the stuff with Storm.
The second half. Yeah, the second half of the episode.
I was really impressed with that part too.
Yes, I really like what they did here because we had mentioned a couple of times that in the comics, basically the X-Men have to give they sacrifice themselves to save Storm, and then another god comes in, and they just really clean that up for this, where it's just like, no, Storm's just strength of character allows her to overcome adversary. And then not only that, but then she gets her modern black and gold Storm outfit, and holy cow, that looked amazing. So on board, and also leaves the door open for maybe Forge coming back at some point, maybe helping out with X-Force or something like that.
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, I love the new uniform that she's in. Echoes back to actually, you can't see it on set here. I have an X-Men arcade machine in my office.
Yes.
And she's wearing that in that game from the 90s or late 80s. So it's a really cool thing. And the way they did it was so superhero-esque. Yes. So Marvel-esque, right? It was almost like when Thor landed in Infinity War. That's actually a really good way of looking at it. I'm thinking about it. To have Storm come back, but Storm being back is huge, right? Yes. Now we have a situation here where she can rejoin the X-Men, and we haven't seen Cyclops since the massacre. Yeah. So next episode should be really good. You have Professor X and Storm rejoining the X-Men. It's gonna be good.
And Nightcrawler too. So suddenly the roster's still full. I'm curious if they're gonna go big and do blue team and gold team.
We'll see. I think more what's going to happen here, because there's one more episode, then there's the 3-part series, right?
Yes.
So this next episode might set up one more thing, right? Yes. And I'm wondering if we're going to get Cable back in the future saying I failed again. Yeah. And they have to figure this out, right? Because that's what's going to happen. And then look, I don't like to predict huge outside the box things too much, but we saw the Watcher in a previous episode. We know Wolverine and Deadpool's coming up. We're going to talk about that trailer in a minute because they talk about it's an alternate universe Wolverine. Yeah. I would say there's a 50% possibility that they may tie this into the larger MCU. Yeah. I don't need them to, though.
No.
So
they don't have to, but they definitely could. Right. They definitely have the problems there.
It could rewrite what She-Hulk did wrong.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, and I think that, rumor is that tonight's episode, because we're recording before the episode 7 drops, it's obviously a recap of episode 6, is that it's going to be very Cyclops heavy. And I think part of that also could be because in the comics, the person who sends the Wild Sentinels, I mentioned it last week, was Cassandra Nova. Right. Lee correctly predicted, though, that they might go back to Mr. Sinister and tie all that in because it's cleaner. And Lee was right. It was Mr. Sinister along with Bolivar Trask. Unless there's still a chance that Cassandra Nova's around because she's as strong as Professor Xavier. You got Xavier coming back now. You could still do that, but credit to Lee, who correctly predicted that it was Mr. Sinister actually behind it all, which is
I appreciate the kudos, but I mean, he's been all over the credits. I don't think enough people know who Cassandra Nova is. They will soon because of Deadpool versus Wolverine.
Right, she is definitely. That has been confirmed in the new trailer. We'll get into that in a second, but yeah.
They may show that. I mean, again, this, as I said, do they want this to connect to the larger MCU? She could be faking as Mr. Sinister. There's that as well, right? Yeah. She could completely pull that off. Absolutely. So we'll see where it goes. I think you're right about the Cyclops heavy episode. We have to go back to now the other X-Men. Like we haven't seen them in 2 episodes. Yeah. So, and I think that the next episode will be them, and then it's all going to connect: Storm, Professor X, and them rejoining.
Everybody coming together at the end to prepare for the final 3-part finale.
Exactly. That's how I would have drawn it up. But I do want to just give a shout out. Just the storytelling is so succinct and beautiful. Yeah. And it's proving once again you don't need 3 freaking hours to do these stories, right? They're doing this in 30 minutes. Yeah. And it's fantastic.
Yeah, 30 to 35 minutes every week.
Yeah, it's the amount of story they are cramming into 30 minutes. It should remind all of us, you don't need 3-hour movies to do these things, right? Tell a good story.
Yep.
Right? And it's like again, look, they still haven't called it a Wild Sentinel. No one said that in the show. Nobody cares, man. Nobody cares. It's like they came and destroyed everything.
It's just like it's a Sentinel. It's a master mold. It's another one. It's just
it's a big bad, and it just goes to show you don't always need to go crazy with these things.
Yeah, no, exactly. Let us as fans go crazy. We'll go crazy enough. That's why we're fanatics. But So moving on, we mentioned the Deadpool Wolverine trailer a couple of times. New trailer just dropped yesterday. We're 3 months away. Less than 3 months away from that being in theaters. And
Deadpool's going to save the MCU.
Deadpool is going to save the MCU there's so much in that trailer to dissect with We had a giant Ant-Man Scott Lang's skull that previous X-Men movie villains came out of. Everyone from X2 to X-Men, what is it? First Class to like
Azrael.
All these. Azrael was there, Deathstrike was there. What Logan is this? Who's going to be saving it? And then of course all the fourth wall breaks already in the film, talking about how we can't talk about cocaine. We can't do cocaine in the film. I promised Feige I would not do cocaine in the film. Yeah. Like just brilliant. And then of course there's a reference to Rob Liefeld, the creator of Deadpool, and how the fact that
everyone's talking about that one. My favorite one is like, can we talk about it now, or do we have to wait for a third act flashback?
Yeah, that was a great
like,
one. Yeah.
Oh, it is like, and Hugh Jackman looks great as a character, and then they showed him without sleeves, which makes me wonder all those idiots that were complaining about that. I almost hope there's a joke in the film about, well, too many people complained about you having sleeves, so we had to take them off for a few scenes. But it looks fantastic. It's the best Marvel trailer I've seen in a while. The Ant-Man skull, everyone did a double take of, oh my God, that's Gigantor Lang and Giant Man and then Cassandra Nova. You said it, she's there, right?
Yes, she's there too, yeah.
And kind of menacing in a cool way. It was funny to see her control Wolverine in the trailer. Somewhat similar to what Magneto does, just showing again the parallels between Magneto and Professor X, that whenever they want to, they can control Wolverine. Although she looks younger and a little more cynical in a fun way, in this kind of Mad Max reality, which we also saw Alioth, right? So what I'm wondering, Ray, after connecting things here, we know in Loki, when he goes to the end of time, or I forgot what the void, right? Yeah. That there were a lot of other Lokis there. Yeah. Right. So it stands that void might have far more people there than we know. That would explain the variance of all the villains and Cassandra Nova being there. Yeah. And all of those characters. Right. So my belief is that they're going to somehow get to the void at the end of time. Right. And that, Alioth is clearly in the trailer. Yeah. Right. And I don't believe that's going to be a multiverse Alioth. That's Alioth. Right. Right. Yeah. Again, one Alioth. Yeah. So. It's going to be interesting to see how they tie that together. This is the only film that can take Jonathan Majors out of the picture. Yeah, very easily and very quickly. No other film will be able to accomplish that. Yeah. So I'm hoping that they kind of do that. The last shot of him and Wolverine jumping into a portal was amazing. Yes. But I cannot wait to see the cameos. Because, and again, if they're in the void, you can bring literally anyone you want. Anyone, because they're all variants at that point. Yeah. And again, the 20th Century Fox thing is pretty clearly there, right? Yeah. You could see, oh my God, the Professor X's, the thing.
Cerebro.
Thank you. I can't believe I blanked on that. Cerebro's in the trailer, it's in the sand, right? And then there's like this Mad Max kind of thing going on there, which I don't know what that is yet. But. I mean, and that's the thing, right? Is that it's like literally they say it. It's like my universe is dying. Like it's literally the story. Like that's what it is. Deadpool's universe, the Fox verse is dying. It's gonna die, which is great. So like I hope they kill it in the. They're not gonna let it live, right? So now the question becomes, where is Deadpool gonna go? Well, where's Deadpool? And who, if anyone, survives from that universe in the MCU? We should mention this. And I'm trying to go through it in my head. I believe the only MCU character in all of the trailers is Ant-Man. Yeah. Everyone else is a Fox character that we see or new, right? Yes. Yeah. I don't think we've seen any non-Fox Marvel characters. I'm trying to think, and I think you're right. Yeah, Ant-Man was the first one we saw that was okay. Sorry, I will say the TVA, right? That's fair. Yes, but we're not even seeing TVA characters that we know. But the TVA and Ant-Man are the only two connections to the MCU. Yeah, right. And it looks like that the Fox universe is up to be pruned. And it makes sense that it's Ant-Man because he's the one who's traveled pretty regularly now through the microverse and all these other places and stuff like. So I mean, like. That he'd be one of those, and again, also, and the Doctor Strange portal, technically, and if that's what that was, which it looked it looked like a Doctor Strange. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I wonder if we're going to see Loki in this film. I do. Yeah. If he's there as the god of stories, I'm not going to lie, a Loki Deadpool interaction would be amazing. That would blow my mind. Right, 100%. So we'll see what happens. They have also well, I should say this. I've read this. I don't want to say confirmed that the MCU X-Men film is going to take place in the same universe as the end credit scene from the Marvels, right? That's going to be the universe they borrow from. Yeah, that's going to be the X-Men film. Is that Photon's there? Yeah, and with Binary's there, right? And that she's working with Professor X and the X-Men, but there'll be a whole new cast for that. So that's what I've heard, right?
Except for Kelsey Grammer.
Well, yes. I'm sorry, physical cast, yes.
Yes. Well, hopefully. I mean, I don't know. Like I hope. I don't know. I was very happy to see him at the end of the film. So.
Oh, I loved it. Yeah. I mean, I'm saying they're going to recast most of the X-Men.
I would imagine. I would imagine most of them are going to be different. But
yeah. But the trailer was fantastic. It was fun. I'm not going to lie to you. I loved all the cursing. Fantastic.
Yes. Yeah. No, they're pulling no punches. It's going to be rated R. Like they've already said, it's rated R.
Rated R.
Yeah, so it's going to be phenomenal. So moving into our last story now of the day, more, I guess this might actually be good in the long run because it could save jobs. Obviously, we've documented the troubles in the video game industry over the last several months with all the layoffs and whatnot. Embracer Group, one of the biggest reasons why there have been so many layoffs, they were trying to do a $2 billion deal with the Saudis that fell apart because I guess they had overexerted themselves. When that fell apart, they didn't get that influx of cash. A lot of studios that they owned started to be shut down or be sold at face value. They lost money on a lot of those sales from what they bought them for, but it was literally just they needed an influx of cash and started selling off studios, firing people left and right. And now they announced today, or actually yesterday, might have been today, but it was time doesn't matter to me anymore. I mean, we're talking about the multiverse. Everything's timey-wimey, spacey-wacy.
That's Doctor Who. Careful.
I know that's
timey-wimey, spacey-wacy.
Yes. But anyway.
That was 3 doctors ago. Now it's not, but it is at the same. That's a whole other geek thing. Yeah.
But yeah. But anyway, they have split up and they're the parent company Embracer Group into 3 smaller companies. Middle Earth Enterprises and Friends. That is legitimately the name of the studio. I am not making that up.
Middle Earth Enterprises
and Friends. Coffee Stain and Friends.
Oh my God.
And the Asmodee Group.
Of course, the last one. It's like that 3-headed dragon. The last one's like,
Yep, exactly. Yep. So. But they're basically going to all handle 3 different things. Middle Earth Enterprises will be the AAA studio that handles things like Dead Island, Tomb Raider, and of course, Lord of the Rings. The Asmodee Group is going to handle a new tabletop division and board game division that will include things like Ticket to Ride, Settlers of Catan, and Exploding Kittens that I guess they have the IPs for. Oh, and also they also mentioned, by the way, because that they're also working on Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, and Marvel-based board games, which that should make money. That makes a lot of sense.
It should make money.
Those people love those things.
Yes.
So yeah, maybe they should have started that a little sooner. And you don't have to lay off so many people. Anyway, Stop bringing
me into that. Stop it.
Coffee Stain and Friends will be the indie studio. They will handle smaller titles like Valheim, Goat Simulator, and Deep Rock Galactic. That are some of the ones in their things, and they will be publicly traded starting in 2025. That is official. So, look, if this saves jobs and continues to raise the quality of games, I'm all for it. Dead Island, I loved Dead Island 2. I've talked about this. It was my number 11 game of the year last year, but I actually really did enjoy it after that game was in development hell. Obviously, properties like Tomb Raider and Deus Ex that they bought from Square Enix, again, these are beloved franchises, and the Lord of the Rings, boy, they really screwed up the last game with that one, but maybe they can bounce back. We will not talk about the Gollum game here. We will not talk about that. That was no. Yeah, it was not precious. It was not precious.
Very precious.
But, I mean, look, I'm excited for this because, again, if it saves jobs and it makes more games and we get more games, then I think it's a good thing. But, again, this comes from a bunch of stupid C-suite morons who failed upwards in their lives, making bad decisions that required this in the first place. Lee, your thoughts?
Nope. Nope. I'm tired of the gaming industry eating itself alive. I have no thoughts. I'm just sitting back and watching the mayhem.
Yeah. I mean, that's what this is. Again, it did not come, for at least from what I read, with any extra firings. So
no, maybe a micro step in the right direction.
I think that's fair. I think it's a micro step in the right direction.
And friends.
And friends. So, yeah.
Thanks for watching Geeks Who Like Sports and Friends. Gotta change the name of the show.
Who comes up with these things? They had, the people who made the City Connect jerseys. That's who comes up with these names.
Right. I've always understood when businesses turn into like and sons, right, or and family, because when their kids are born.
Yeah.
But yeah, and Friends is it's like, man, we got this pile of crap. How do we shine this up? Let's just add and Friends at the end.
Yeah.
We're friendly.
People are going to like us again. We're going to
the New York Yankees and Friends.
We're all friends again. And the new friends of the New York Yankees bought John Sterling a television. Yay!
Yeah. The umpires and Friends.
Yeah.
New.
Magneto and Friends.
And his amazing friends. Spider-Man and his amazing friends.
Spider-Man and his amazing friends.
Yes.
That was a classic. That's what we need. We need Spider-Man and Iceman and Firestar in the X-Men 97 itself.
All of those characters have been part of super teams before, and I'm going to let everybody know as a little tease that our good friend and manager and head host of this show, Ray Carcillo, has created this week's mashup. He gave me the week off. He said, Lee, take the week off. I've got a matchup. That question is, what super team I said that too fast. What superhero team would most benefit from being split into smaller mini teams? Ray, I have the answer. But for those of you listening, you got to wait till the next episode comes out this Saturday. Our mashup, our mini episodes, 10 minutes or less, little bite-sized episodes that you can enjoy with friends.
Yes.
Next time you listen.
Yes. So friends, thank you so much for listening to Geeks Who Like Sports and Friends. For my best friend.
Hi, it's me. And my best friend.
Yes. That's Lee Elias. I'm Ray Carcillo. This has been another edition of Geeks Who Like Sports. Good night, everybody.